So today's video is going to be slightly different, and by that I mean we're not going to be in charge of Chelsea. If you remember in the last episode, at least I think it was the last episode, we got offered the opportunity to manage England. And today we're going to be doing just that. How you doing, everybody, and welcome to what I guess is going to be part one of this mini-series part of my career here on FM23. I'm Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video, where, as mentioned before, we're going to be managing England, and the build-up is basically going to... I don't even know what the tournament coming up will be. 2032 is what we've just done. We've just played the Euros, I think. It'll be the 2034 World Cup. 2022, 2026, 2030. Yeah, 2034 World Cup is what we're building to. So we're going to try and get England there. And today we play two games, one against Romania and the other against Austria. And if you're excited to see how we get on with the England national team, do not forget to leave a like on the video for me and subscribe so you don't miss any of the nonsense from this face right here. New surroundings. I know I've already put a video saying that we've done the move. This is what the room is that we're working with, and I'm very happy with the space, to be honest. But that's not the matter at hand. The matter at hand is playing, well, managing for England, so playing for England then. So we're not going to be talking about anything Chelsea related unless it pertains to the England national team. We are here about England today. So let's get to it and let's see how things are. Now, Nations League group. Currently not, well, I say it's not going well. It's not started yet. So actually it's going very well because everyone's level on points. So we've got two games today against Austria and Romania, and then at some point we will play Denmark as well. Now, picking my first squad was quite challenging. I had a big pool to choose from of players. The difficulty was getting that pool down, but also making sure it wasn't completely on the old side. There was a lot of 30 plus players in, and there still are now. So if I show you the squad, and as a result you're going to see the team that we've picked as well here today. But even in the squad I've picked, when I've tried to be conscious for it, there's a good chunk of 10 players there who are 30 or over. Those are players who are younger than that. We've got two 29-year-olds. Then there's a drop to 26 all the way down to 21, which does include Jay Leathan, who is going to be making his debut today for us. Worth up to £226 million, don't you know? What an obscene amount of money that is. But I'm delighted about it. He's had an absolutely stellar career at Southampton so far. Of course, he had his breakthrough season or two with us. That last season before we left was spectacular. Didn't actually play that well last season, but still got a decent rating. But, I mean, you can bet wherever we go next after Chelsea, we'll be looking at him. Absolutely. So, that's what the squad is looking like. In terms of personnel, if we sort it, our goalkeepers are Aaron Ramsdale, and then this guy who is a real player, actually, Carl Rushworth, currently at Brighton from the looks of things here. He is going to be our backup goalkeeper. And then we've also got this guy, Manessa Bourne at Bournemouth, who is a new-gen goalkeeper who actually is just as good as Aaron Ramsdale. So maybe he'll get his first cap at some point. Defence-wise, it will shock you to no end that I decided to choose Lubos Durica, who is here. 13 caps for England, 1 goal. He's made 3 international appearances this season. We know how good he can be for Chelsea. We also know how inconsistent he can be for Chelsea. So fingers crossed it's the first one. Fikayo Tomori is going to be his defensive partner today. 34 years young, still at Milan. Not worth a lot of money, not as quick as he once was, but still a very solid defender. 81 caps for England. The other central defensive options, if I can find them, are Ben Wagstaff, who is of Arsenal, I do believe. No, Bayer Leverkusen. Got that completely wrong. New gen, 8 caps for England. He's our backup defender. Can play midfield as well if needed. And then it's a bit of a cheeky one, but Declan Rice is effectively our backup central defender as well. I didn't realise how bad his physicals were tanking. Of course, we've signed him this season. 33 years old, 133 caps for the national team. He's the England captain from what I can remember, or he's the vice captain, one of the two. But he also doubles as a central defensive midfielder. In many ways, as does Trent Alexander-Arnold. He doubles as that as well, even though he's traditionally a wing-back. I will be using him as a midfielder. And then we've got a few of the players. I'm not going to go through the entire squad, but I was going to do that and I realised how long it would take. But the important thing is we have got some of our boys in here. Carl Ratcliffe, Alan Skinner, they're both here. James Price, who's having a decent time at Newcastle, he's here as well. And then we mentioned Jay Leathan before. Mason Mount, obviously, here at 33 years old, one of the elder statesmen. The oldest player, of course, in the squad, if I'm right, is Fikayo Tomori and Aaron Ramsdale. So it'll be interesting to see how the Golden Oldies get on. But with that, let's get into the team. And let's see what we have to work with. So, it is Ramsdale in goal, Livramento, Durica, Tomori and Benford in defence. Bellingham, Mount and Saward in the midfield, with Leathan, Foden and Tesgel as our front line. It hurts me to no end not to include Skinner or Ratcliffe. However, Tesgel is the best striker England have. 29 caps, 23 goals. The other guys have barely caps between them. 2 caps, 1 goal for Alan Skinner. And I don't think Ratcliffe actually has... Oh, he's got 2 caps, 1 goal now, actually. Him and Skinner have the same record. Him and Skinner have the same record. Well, I never did. I didn't realise that. But, yeah, they haven't got the confirmed experience that Tesgel has at this level. Tesgel's been sensational. Word for Seward, he is a player who we have been looking at to sign for the last couple of seasons at Chelsea. We haven't actually pulled the trigger, but maybe a good performance in the national side will get us there. But that is the 11. And Romania do have 1 or 2 decent players as we get into this game that I do want to highlight when we get to the next screen. And I mean, I say 1 or 2. I can think of 1 off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's another one in there. But look at the goalkeeper. Ion Dumitru should look familiar. He's a Chelsea player. He's our starting goalkeeper. We know how good he has been for us. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But you can see squad numbers have been decided for us. We haven't had any input in them. I really don't like it when you don't get to input your squad numbers. It gives me weird anxiety that it really shouldn't do. But those are the 11s. Let's get in. Let's give a team talk. We've had 0 effect on the team whatsoever. Well, no, we've had a little bit of it. Saward is very aggressive, which is a bit of a concern. I ain't doing no stinking media. Let's delegate that to Steve. Apparently I can't, but we'll send our assistant there. And of course, because I've been in the middle of house moving to get up to this bit, I have been playing things on 2D just to speed things through on my laptop. So let me just adjust those. And let me just adjust this, which I had real trouble doing the last time I did this. So that's their team, that's our team. Groups, scores, away we go. And let's see whether we can get off to a winning start in this group. Fingers crossed we can. If we don't, of course, then, well, it'll be a bit of a waste of everyone's time, really, doing this mini part of the series. I mean, if it was one of those things. If it doesn't go very well, if I'm not enjoying it, and also if you guys aren't enjoying it, I'll hit it on the head and I'll either play it offline, or if I'm not enjoying it as well, I'll just resign. But it would be quite nice to win an international trophy if we can. Obviously, there's no guarantee that we can, but it would be nice to try. It's also quite nice using a 4-3-3 system. It's weird, but having played so much football without wingers since we've been at Chelsea, and also in this save as well, remember, a large part of Tranmere was without wingers using the 5 at the back system. Tesgel's in here, and Tesgel makes it 1-0 inside 9 minutes. Very hot in this room, by the way. That's one thing I have noticed since moving into here. This room is quite warm. But yeah, it's quite nice having wingers. It's quite nice having Lethem back, to be honest with you, and Livramento. There's a weird mashup of players that I've managed in this team. Not all of them, obviously, but okay, we haven't managed Ramsdale, but with Livramento, Southampton, Rika, Chelsea, Benford. We had him for 1 season at Southampton. We haven't had Bellingham, but we do have Mount at the moment. Saward we've nearly had. Lethem we had at Southampton, and then the other 2 we didn't have. So there's a few players, not a lot of them, but there are a few players right there. But that was nearly offside. But Mason Mount actually got the assist there, which is nice to see. Right, Mount gets it into Phil Foden. Phil Foden's still going strong at this point in the save. Pretty much, I would say, England's best player from looking at it. Certainly best original player. Some of the players who were sensational, people like Alexander-Arnold, still have some quality. But I mean, Alexander-Arnold's free kicks have gone down to 13. That tells you where he's at. Right, Derica to Tamori, over to Bellingham now. Bellingham out wide to Benford. Benford, we know, is a good passer of the ball, and Phil Foden has gone and made it too, because Phil Foden is an absolute G. What a player, what a shot, and what a pass from Benford as well on that left-hand side. I really wanted to start Luke Thomas, but every time I've come up against Manchester United, Benford has really impressed me to the point where I did debate trying to sign him this season. We obviously didn't do it, but Foden goes and puts the ball in the back of the net there. Lovely pass again from Benford as mentioned, and it is 2-0 inside 11 minutes. And I think we've got a good team here, but it is an ageing team. It'll be interesting to see how many of these players we still have who are usable and not retired by the time we actually get to the World Cup. I don't envisage us staying longer than the World Cup. I certainly don't envisage us having episodes for every England game in beyond the World Cup. I don't. To be honest with you, the only reason I'm doing this video, oh my word, Tesgel nearly gets a 3rd for the team there, 2nd for himself. I don't envisage us doing a game for every single international game that we have. I don't envisage us doing it. envisage us doing that. But maybe if we are tight, maybe if it's a big team, we will do that. Obviously, when we get to the World Cup, assuming we're still England manager, we might do that. But I just thought it might be something a bit different. I know international football is one of those things on Football Manager that's not really been improved for a long time, and it isn't the most interesting part of it, other than the fact you get to use all of the players of a nation to try and create, like, effectively a super team. At least that's what it should be, a super team of that nation's players. And it is quite cool to get to use players like Livramento, Phil Foden. Tezgel, I know, is a player who's been sensational in this save, currently at PSG. It's really nice to be able to use those players. Benford as well, to use him at this point when he's grown more. Lethan as well, but Lethan actually, having said that, not had a good game so far. He's on a 6.5. He is making his England debut, so we'll cut him a little bit of slack. But I think James Price is going to be coming on the pitch in the second half, which shocks me because, I mean, you knew my feelings at the end of Southampton, how I felt about James Price and Jay Lethan both together. I was a massive fan of one and not of the other. I'm going to demand more from him because, quite frankly, he's had a shocker so far and I trust him to do better. We were debating potentially about calling Michael Holdford up to the national team, but he hasn't played enough games for Southampton. He's not a guaranteed starter there, so felt like one that I wanted to do, but not one that actually was realistic. But I mean, Jay Lethan's not impressed me so far, I've got to be honest with you, and considering how good he was, I mean, he was decent last season, even though he didn't have a stellar year. But the last season we had him with, oh my word, he's put up a stinker so far. Right, we're going to tell him that as well. Hopefully he steps things up. We're going to tell Livramento we want him to do a bit more. Same with Jude Bellingham as well. Jude Bellingham's the captain, by the way. It is Declan Rice who's the vice captain. So, no changes. We're just going to go straight into the second half. And let's see what happens. Austria currently winning 2-1 from the looks of things. The brief look I got right. Foden with a free kick here. He could make it 3. Doesn't know. He doesn't know. No third goal. Well, yeah, no third goal. I thought we'd already scored 3 for a second then. My word, Jay Lethan's having a bad game. Goodness me. Right, I think he's not long for this game, to be honest with you. I think he'll get taken off, and I think his next chance will come from the bench. He's not going to get dropped because it's his first ever appearance for the team. He's not fully integrated into the squad yet, and he's still young. He's in here. Jay Lethan's in. He tries to square it. He kind of does, and he's got an assist, and he might have just stopped himself from getting subbed off. I mean, Jay Lethan got really, really lucky with the cross because it got deflected. What a pass this is, by the way, from Phil Foden. What an absolute pass that is. I think we know who the best player in England is, and it's Phil Foden, right? But this pass, not very good, but the deflection works out, and Tezgel is there to make it 3. Gets his second goal of the game. Lethan gets an assist, jumps up to a 7.2. I'm all of a sudden very happy. Bellingham not having his best game. However, I mean, I'm playing as a deep line playmaker on defence, so I'm not overly surprised that he's not enjoying himself. Now, I am debating either Trent or Stephen Whittle. Now, Trent, we know what Trent's about as a player. Tezgel's got his hat-trick. So I think Stephen Whittle, who I don't think's made an England cap, we're going to bring him on. That feels like the thing to do. And I'm also, now Tezgel's got a hat-trick, going to bring on one of these two. Now, who do I bring on? Do I bring on Ratcliffe or Skinner? I mean, Ratcliffe has been superb. Absolutely superb. But Skinner has started the season so well, and I feel like he deserves a moment to shine. And Ratcliffe could play out on the left. Skinner's going to come on. I don't know how many substitutions we actually have at international level. I'm assuming it's the same amount that we have in what seems to be the rest of football. Right, we've made those changes. Let me just confirm how many we've got. Used one. I've got 1 substitution out of 3 left. Apparently there's no stoppages. It's only the 3, so I've only got 1 change left, which is interesting for us to remember. So remember that. 1 substitution left. We have made 2. Skinner and Whittle on. It'll be interesting to see how they both do. Tezgel, the hat-trick hero, off the pitch, having a bit of a break. Right, Livramento gets the ball now to Tomori. Defence have really not been troubled that much in this game, which has been good to see. Dorica now to Mount, club mates. Out wide to Jay Lethan, who is starting to really find his own in this game here. Pulls it back to Alex Seward, and Alex Seward, I don't know if it's his international debut, but he has just scored what has got to be his first goal for England. There it is. And Jay Lethan gets a second assist. Shocking first half. Didn't start the second half much better. And as soon as he was about to get subbed, bang. bursts into life on that wing, and we are now 5 goals up, which against Romania, I would expect. Yes, they've got a good goalkeeper, but he's the only player there that I recognise as being a proper good player, and that's considering current world, like real world players. There's none in there that jump out at me as being absolutely superstars. So that says everything. I do want to make that final substitution. We'll make it on the 80th minute. They're actually in with a chance here, and Ramsdale deals with it well. Quick off his line. He is an old man, so good to see him quick off his line. Skinner's not having a good game, apparently. Well, he's not having a great game, but he's a bit nervous, I think, which is understandable. Right, Derica now, looking to come forward. Gets it to Mount. Mount looking for options. Goes out to Seward. Seward into Foden. To Skinner. Skinner does his man beautifully there. Having a great season, Alan Skinner. And he's gone and scored a goal. And that makes me happy. 3 caps, 2 goals for Alan Skinner. Chelsea boy manages to make it 6. And I am delighted. Mount gets it out to Seward. Seward, that could have been our midfield this season potentially. And what a lovely touch that is from Skinner to get the ball from Foden. Goes around his man here. I thought he'd stuffed it up and put it wide, but actually it's a superb finish. Full of confidence, Alan Skinner so far. Glad we brought him on instead of Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe is probably going to be coming on in a moment though, to be honest. I think we're going to give Phil Foden a little bit of a rest because he's played very, very well today. We will bring Ratcliffe on. We'll make him an inverted, an inside forward. Give him an opportunity there just to see what he can do. I'm not too worried about if he has a good performance or a bad performance. We're 6-0 up. He's playing out of position. I'm not that bothered. Jay Leatham, by the way, has got 3 assists in this game. From not having a good game to that, he's been sensational. What a game that was. They did have a number of shots in the end because we were going forward quite often, but the most important thing is the result, and we did win. And that was a very, very good win as well. Very happy with the performances of a lot of the players. Emre Tezgel, I tell you what a player he looks like. What an absolute player. I'm trying to do something with that, but it's not letting me do it. But the important thing is there, we win the game, and I'm delighted. Hat-trick for Tezgel. I mean, what a result. Positivity all around. I think for the next game, we will rotate things a little bit. Leatham will stay on after that performance because he was fantastic, genuinely. Really happy with how he did. I don't know why this game does this. It really annoys me. Down. Nothing about the current games or anything like that, just because it gets a bit messy with normal football, I think. So I've just got their caps and stuff like that just for information. Right, I think in the next game we will rotate things. Seward had a good game, but I'm going to bring him off and I don't know, put on place actually. That's a position we don't really have cover for unless Phil Foden goes there. But to be fair, Bellingham and Mount can also cover it. So I think I'll take... Yeah, do you know what? I'll swap those 2 rounds and I'll take Seward off for Declan Rice. Let's give I'm talking myself into it. Declan Rice go there. He can play box to box. He can do a job there. We'll give Reece James a game as well. We'll also give Luke Thomas a game. We are rotating a little bit heavily, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. And then Stephen Whittle, I think we'll keep him on the bench. Again, he's more of a deep line playmaker on defence. Did absolutely okay in his first cap. Very, very happy with his performance, but not going to mess things around too much. So I think we'll probably leave it for that in case anything else comes up. But I think that is a pretty good team for the game against Austria. So bear with me and we'll get to that game. We're back for the game against Austria, and this is the 11 that we're going with. It is, well, it's the team that we saw assembled in the end of the last part of the video. So it's Ramsdale, James Derica, Tamori Thomas, Bellingham, Rice and Mount with Leatham, Foden and Tezgel. So we've kept it very, very similar. I'm tempted to take Mount out as a Mazzala just because he is tiring. So, I mean, Seward could come on. I mean, the one area of the pitch I really didn't get as many players in as I perhaps should have. Probably we did need another midfielder. Although we could move Bellingham. I'm debating moving Bellingham, putting Alexander-Arnold in the midfield. So actually, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to have Bellingham get a bit more advanced and have Alexander-Arnold sit in the hole, defend and attack. I think we'll do that. We'll go with the golden oldies in the midfield. Why not? Let's do that. We've decided that on the fly. Why the devil not? Declan Rice, vice captain, gets in the pitch as well. Let's see how they do together. Could we regret that? There's not as much energy in our midfield, maybe. I think Jude Bellingham's got energy for everyone, to be honest with you. I think he's only 30, 31 at this point. Can we check? Let's double check. How old is Jude Bellingham? Is 29 and he's contracted to Manchester City. I want to double check actually. Where is Phil Foden at the moment? Still at Man City. I thought he'd left, actually. I thought he'd gone somewhere. That hasn't worked. Let's just skip past that. Let's get into the game against Austria. Only lost once in their last 5 games, so that is important to bear in mind. Yusuf Demir is in their team. Seivold, Schlager, Wimmer. There's players in there that I recognise the names of, which means that they are an older team. Typically, Declan Rice with a great tackle there, actually. Looking to run forward, gets the ball out to Lethan. Lethan now looking for options. He's actually gone for the shot there, and really probably should have gone for the pass, but he's actually... Has he won a corner? Wow, if he did win the corner, we didn't see it, but it was great work from Lethan, but he probably shouldn't have gone for the shot. Probably should have just gone a little bit safer and crossed it in. Tezgel. Lethan again putting the work in there, and Jay Lethan, he's desperate to get his first international goal. Heidel, by the way, has been Manchester United's starting goalkeeper for quite some time. He isn't anymore, but he has been up until the last couple of seasons. So I have got a decent goalkeeper, but then so did Romania, and look what we did to them. Not always about the goalkeeper. Lethan, again, having a poor game by the rating standards. I mean, what I've seen from him so far, he's been pretty good. It's just been his end product that hasn't been fantastic, but he's just sprang into life in the last game, so I'm going to trust him a little bit. Right, Foden now. Looking to get out to Thomas. Thomas running with the ball back into Foden. Foden looking for Tezgel. He's found him. What a pass that is. Big ball out to Lethan, into Rice now. I don't know how wise all of that was, and in the end, Rice's ball just goes over the bar, which is not ideal. Lethan's tiring now, so we might need to look at bringing him off at half-time. He hasn't had a good game today. I wouldn't be taking him off because of that. It's just because of the fitness issue. I don't want to completely kill him. Cross didn't really work there for Jay Lethan. Maybe we should put him on shoot less often. I don't think I've adjusted that on him. Foden does really well tracking back there. Phil Foden is such a good player. I mean, I feel bad that we stuck him out on the wing, but he's doing a really good job out there. Big cross in, looking for Jude Bellingham. Can't find him, though. David Schlager heads it out as far as Yusuf Demir. And now Austria trying to build from the back here. Ball into Seivold. Seivold into Baumgartner. Baumgartner to Querfeld. David Schlager now into Seivold. That's a poor pass, and Tezgel's in here. It's got to be 1-0 surely, and it is. It's a huge mistake from Austria. Taking us a little while to get past the defence for the first time compared to the last game against Romania, but we do eventually break the deadlock, and we lead. It's 1-0. They pass the ball around quite nicely, but without actually making any progression here. And then they just panic here, and it's poor from both the midfielder and the defender. Tezgel is just aware to it, just taps it nearly through the goalkeeper's legs, just past the goalkeeper. 1-0 to England. Happy, happy days. I want to see where Emre Tezgel, where his family's from, because it's just such an interesting name. I know he's a real player as well. So half-time, we'll have a look at that. But this will put us top of the group after 2 games with 6 from 6. Right, Dorica chests it down, gets it to Reece James, out wide to Jay Lethan. Jay Lethan into Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham into Tezgel. Tezgel looking for a second, can't get it, but keeps the ball actually after his shot rebounds. Big ball out, looking for Lethan. Lethan with the header, and it's just wide. And we've known that Jay Lethan is a threat from aerial situations. He can get the job done, but it is 2... Is it 2-0 or is it 1-0? I've forgotten how many we've scored. How many did we score? 1. Don't know why I thought it was 2 for a second. Emre Tezgel, where are you from, boy? Turkey. Actually, looking at that name, that makes a lot of sense. That's fair enough. What a player he is in this save, though. Right. Lethan and Foden are playing very, very well. Well, no, Lethan's playing not so well. Foden's playing okay. I'm going to take Lethan off. And I think we'll bring on James Price. Let's give him some football. And see how he does. We'll change him to be an inside forward. We know how good he does a job there. And Phil Foden, I think we'll take him off. Yeah, we'll take him off. And we'll take him off for... Oh, Ratcliffe, or do we go Cole Palmer? Do we even make that second change? I think we'll leave it for now because we've only got 3 substitutions. So we'll make Price just because we noticed a tiring player. I'm looking at Tamorin and I'm thinking we'll rest Tezgel as well. I hate to do this, but Phil Foden's not my player, so I'm not that bothered about him. We'll tell Luke Thomas, however, calm yourself down. I didn't really want to shout at him. I wanted to tell him to calm down. I did the wrong thing now, so let's see what happens. I probably just fired him up even more, to be honest. Right, second half. Let's get a second. I would quite like that. That'd make me happy. Right, corner to Austria. This is not what I want. Yusuf Demir with the corner, looking to whip it in. It's just over the bar. I had a horrible feeling, which is why I paused then, that we might just be seeing them get back into the game. Right, Tamori with the free kick into Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas Had a decent game, but certainly not as explosive as Dale Benford was. Right, lovely ball from Declan Rice to Price into Tezgel. And I thought there might be a whiff of offside there. There isn't. Oh, no, it has been called back. It has been called back. Just looking at it, it didn't look right. Right. Price lets it run here. And just needs to be behind Price Tezgel. And it's okay, but he's not. It ends up not being okay. So it's still only the 1-0 but Price showing good movement. Cutting inside like that, really, really nice. Good pass there, but Reece James just wasn't quick enough to get to it. And now Austria have possession again. And now all of a sudden, I'm a bit worried because time's going and we've still only got the 1 goal. And Yusuf Demir now is running down this wing, looking to get the ball in. Seivold now gets it into Zevislager. He's got a shot on him, and I tell you what, we were a bit lucky there, I think. We're going to go attacking for this next period, and we're going to make a substitution. Phil Foden is tiring. His powers are weakening. We're going to bring on Carl Ratcliffe for some football. I'm going to make him an inside forward as well. I've not really used Carl Ratcliffe as a striker. I'm intrigued to see how he does. If we had more substitutions, I'd also take Derica off. But I do not want to do that and then risk getting an injury. Big ball out to Foden here in the box, looking for Emre Tezgel, and Phil Foden gets the assist just before he comes off. And I'm tempted to leave him on, but we're not going to do that. We'll take him off. We'll give him a rest. It's the fair thing to do. And we didn't see all of this move. Rice gets it to James Price. James Price cuts inside. Goes back to Declan Rice, actually, who lofts it over to Phil Foden. Phil Foden, one touch into the box. I thought it might be Bellingham who got on the end of it, but it's Emre Tezgel again for his second of the game. And I'm happy with that. I'll be happy with 2-0. I'd like another one. You know what I'm like. I love to score goals, but I'll take that. I'll absolutely take that. Defense-wise, I'm actually going to take Derica off. Rather than Tomori, even though Tomori's more tired because Derica's having the worst game. He's actually gotten a bit better now, but I'm going to take him off for Ben Wagstaff. Give him some football. And I think everyone I wanted to get football will have played. The only person who really hasn't is Cole Palmer. And the goalkeepers haven't really changed. Cole Palmer, I mean, a fine player. We know what we get with Cole Palmer. So let's bring on Ben Wagstaff. Give him some minutes just at the end of the game. And let's see this one out. 2-0. Comfortably top of the group after 2 games. I'll take that. I'll absolutely take that. As a first round of games as England manager, it's a solid thumbs up from me. Very happy. We'll say that's a good win. Everyone's delighted. Everybody's happy. Got a couple of debuts in there. Get some young blood into the mix of the squad. I think we've proven ourselves right with that. I think we have another 2 goals, 5 in 2 for Emre Tezgel. Livramento's delighted. I'd love to bring Tino back. I know he's 29 years old. I'd love to bring him back to Chelsea. He'd be a homegrown at club player. Love to bring him back, but I don't think it's going to happen. Take Carl Jimenez. I said I wasn't going to talk about Chelsea, and I've gone and talked about it. Well, you know what? Let's talk about England first, then we'll get on to Chelsea. So in terms of the schedule coming up, next round of games is in October. I won't show you those games. I won't show you them, but I will go through the results. And what we'll do is, because we haven't played Denmark yet, when we get to the last game against a team we haven't played yet, which is Denmark, we'll show you that one in and around the fixtures there. We might tie it with the other Romania game. We might have a double bill here, possibly. See how we do time-wise, but I think we'll show the Denmark game when that comes up, or we'll show highlights from it or something, but I'll work that out. Right. Chelsea mode. Let's have a quick talk about Chelsea. We didn't make any more deals in the transfer window. Kept the squad as it is. And after 4 games, the table is looking like this. It's looking very healthy indeed. 4 wins from 4. Goal difference of +8. 12 points on the board. Alan Skinner's the second top goal scorer in the league. Players following him are Carl Ratcliffe on 2 goals behind. Don't have anyone else on the list, but trust me, we are playing well. 3 best players in the league are Skinner, Ratcliffe and Reece James. Reece James has the most assists in the league. Player of the matches, Carl Ratcliffe. And on clean sheets, he's down here on 1. But we've had some difficult games. Well, no, we've not had difficult games. That's a lie. We just have let a couple of goals in. But those are the results we've had. You can see it's the Ratcliffe and Skinner show. Nathan Mackey's chipped in with 1 as well. But look at the form. Alan Skinner got a hat-trick against Manchester United. They're the champions from last season, and we battered them 3-1. We've scraped by against Wolves. I mean, that looks far worse than it actually was. Same with Norwich. But you knew that because you saw that game anyway. But yeah, we played those 2 league games since then. And that Man United game, we looked sensational, quite frankly. And this front 2 of Ratcliffe and Skinner, superb. Hector Febre needs to sort his life out. And also, I need to change over to the right view. Get that one going. Hector February needs to sort his life out. He's not been that... I say he's not been that good. He's got an assist. And I went really high pitch then. Everything's fine. Everything's going really, really well. I can't complain. Speaking of which, we talked about it before when we're going to be back. It's going to be somewhere in this region. We'll come back for a Premier League game and a Champions League game. Champions League, by the way. Obviously, we don't get groups because it's the weird Champions League. But we've been drawn against Bournemouth, Athletic Bilbao, Rennes, Juventus, PSV, Inter, them, and Lyon. I mean, how many difficult games do you want to give me? Ideally, I want to try and win the Champions League this season. I know it's unrealistic, but I want to try and win the Champions League this season. What a set of games. But again, not mainly here to talk about Chelsea. We're here to talk about England. And for a first set of games, I am really happy with what we have just done. I mean, Tesco, we can see, has been one of the jewels in the crown for some time. Dennis Price has been there as well. Full Foden's chipped in with a couple here or there. So those to be our goal scorers in this game. I'm really, really happy to get Skinner on the score sheet as well as Seward as well. But that is going to do it for today. So, with that in mind, thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to leave a like on this video. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more in our attempts to win the World Cup and also in the Chelsea period of the save as well. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome. And I will see you in the next video. Cheers.